Hello everyone, and welcome back to Trifecta. So things are really moving on this server, including ourselves. We managed to get our very first train last episode, as well as construct a full railway line all the way to spawn. And yes, with the help of Lashmac, we did manage to get our train turned around, and it's currently parked right here, just before the entrance of our future train station. And honestly, after constructing our very first train, I'm addicted. All I want to do is finish this train station and get the logistics network set up. The one thing we didn't look at last episode was train schedules. The train schedules allow mobs to ride the trains and conduct the trains, and that allows you basically to send them automatically to other stations. So what I'm thinking is we can use that to build a logistics network and shuffle items around. Oh, look at that, it's the Wandering Trader again. This guy is everywhere. What do you have for us this time? Oh, diamond blocks. Okay, trader, I'll take you up on this offer. I noticed he's also selling the globe from supplementaries. We're going to buy this as well, and this is our very last emerald. I haven't actually seen this thing in game. Look how cool this is. Can you spin it as well? That's so awesome. I think this is going to live right here. Right on the entrance to our workshop. Yeah. And we'll add this to our ever-growing collection of the mini blocks. One day, I wonder if it's possible to get them all. Or how long that would take, rather. Of course it's possible, but anyways, no more distractions. We have so much to get through today. And I think this is going to be quite the challenge because to build our train station here, I mentioned it has to be much bigger than what it is. And that means a lot of building blocks. The state of our building blocks leaves a lot to be desired. Some things like stone we're not looking too bad on. We have some filled chests up there in deep storage. Other things like diorite, granite, andesite, we really could do with some more of. So eventually we'll have everything automated. But we have to start somewhere, right? And that somewhere is going to be with clay. To build the station, I really want to carry the theme of bricks and granite forward, and we'll use this all over the place inside there. So let's discuss the options we have. How do we get clay? Oh, and by the way, the iron farm does work. After we move the villagers. Well, one option, speaking of the villagers actually, is the mason villagers. These guys are all unemployed right now, but the masons can give us bricks. They're not going to sell you clay directly, but the bricks technically is what we're after. Yeah, the villager trading is definitely something we'll invest in, but I've decided to push back that project since I want the villagers away from our base, and we'll set up train networks to send the items we want to trade with. A second option is to use Lashmac and get him to create bricks and clay for us. This is his brand new shop. I think he just finished construction yesterday.
Welcome customer, do not steal from darkness.
I love that. That's so very Lashmac right there. That's awesome. Okay, we're just stopping. We don't have any anything to buy with. Well, we're just going to see what he has. It looks like he's selling brass casing, andesite casing, gearboxes. I don't know what that is. Oh, block of experience. This is new in the new version of Crate. Lashmac, I'm not stealing. I just want to see the animation on this thing. Oh, that is cool. Does it give off a light level as well? It looks like it, right? Let's see, what else does he have? Redstone, glowstone, gunpowder. This man is rich. Yeah, there we are. Look, he's selling bricks. 4 stacks for a diamond? That's really not such a bad idea. What else does he have? Tracks, electron tubes, and mechanisms? Is this the exit here? Pay here or else? Oh, this is
Dear
awesome.
customer, please do not come back.
Okay, well, it's good to know at least what he has in stock. I think we will be back, despite the warning of the exit announcement. Another option, though, is to use extra cool cat. I think it's over by that tower over there. Oh yeah, this is what we're looking for. In his recent episode, if you haven't seen that by the way, go check it out. In his recent episode he set up this, which is a full cobble works, something you guys have been telling me to get as well. And one day we will definitely set up all this stuff. It looks like he's making gravel, sand, soul sand, glass, iron nuggets, stone, cobblestone, and clay. Only 1,600 compared to like 30,000 of the rest. I don't know if we can get back here to see exactly what he's doing. It seems to be this module right here. I think what he's doing is this, crushing gravel into a 5% chance of clay balls. There is another option in the JEI though. We can bulk wash sand for a 25% chance at a clay ball. And sand you can get from gravel, gravel you can get from cobblestone, and cobblestone you can get from a cobblestone generator, of which he has like 10 here. 8 here. So yeah, that is another option for us to get clay, and therefore bricks. And the rest of the stuff, Coolcat did offer us an opportunity to buy.
There is glass, there is soul sand, and soul sand doesn't sound all that useful, but you can wash soul sand into quartz, And with the quartz, you can craft diorite, andesite, and granite with just quartz and cobblestone.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I have like tens of thousands of soul sand, so that'll make another tens of thousands of granite, andesite, whatever.
That's the key right there. You're going to receive some business soon.
Yeah.
Do you have prices by any chance, or are those not set in stone yet?
Set in stone? No.
So we'll definitely take him up on that offer, but what if I told you there was another way? Introduced in Minecraft 1.19, we can now place a block of mud over a block, and underneath the block, place a pointed dripstone. Eventually, after the mud block receives a random tick, it will dry out into clay. If we turn up the random tick speed here, yep, there we go. And yes, before we proceed, we are definitely doing this the over-engineered way. This one right here with the sand is probably the best option since it's fully passive, because the inputs are going to be cobblestone. This way we do have to provide mud. Fortunately for us though, we do have this recipe added by the create mod. Either rooted dirt, dirt, or coarse dirt and water will give us 1 block of mud in the mixer. As far as I know, dirt isn't renewable, but rooted dirt is renewable. Whenever you grow an azalea tree on regular dirt, it turns the root into rooted dirt. So one day we can potentially also farm rooted dirt. That could be a very fun challenge, especially with the create mod. But for now, we're going to stick to the automation of mud, and then send in mud automatically over pointed dripstone, and we need some way to harvest this and collect the clay balls. Alright, so let's start with a 9x9. I've got some mud placed on top, the pointed dripstone is below. First of all, we need some way of harvesting this, so I think the most sensible option is the mechanical drill, facing down. Then we also need some way to replenish the mud after the drills break it. And for that, the best option I believe is the deployer, which can automatically place blocks. So we can have deployers following the drills behind. Yeah, pointing down just like this. I don't want to set the filter there. I know in the recent update they moved the filter to the side. It used to be on the bottom here. I'm not so sure I like that just yet because of this situation right here. Let's flip all these round and set a filter for mud, so that it can only place the mud blocks. Okay, so then we have to find out some way to get all these things to move. We could use a minecart contraption, but I think the better option is something called the gantry carriage. So you need the gantry shaft, and this is basically the line that it's going to follow. So if we have something like this, the gantry shaft, gantry carriage on top, and then we just have to give this rotational power. We can do that with the creative motor. And you can see it starts to move. Give the gear shift a redstone signal, it's going to reverse the direction, and that's the way we can get it back to the beginning. Let's see, we also need to give this contraption some storage, so we can place it right around here. Maybe 2 barrels on top and super glue everything together, corner to corner. And now when we reverse the direction, it should mine all the blocks. Now you can see here we have an issue, right? How do we prevent it from mining the mud? As far as I know, I don't think there's any way for us to prevent that. We don't have the filter option on the mechanical drills, so this will just drill anything in its path. But we also have a second issue. How do we prevent the mechanical drills on the way back when it's reset from mining the mud, which is just placed by the deployers behind? Because if we send this back right now, it's going to mine the mud once again, and the deployers are not going to place it because it's behind the drills. So that is a bit of an issue. In the Rise and Shine update, there is something called the contraption controls. And these controls, when you put it on a contraption, it allows you to control precisely what is going to run. So if we add a filter here in the controls for the mechanical drill, and we hit the button here to turn the mechanical drills off, as you can see when we move the gantry carriage again, these things are not spinning, only the deployers are running, which is exactly what we want. There is a way to activate this automatically though. We can give this a redstone signal once it's placed, i.e. once the gantry carriage is stopped. We can place a redstone block here, for example, and yeah, you can see here it automatically turns off the filtered item. And the best part about this is once it returns, once it sends itself all the way back, it's going to reset, and they're now on, right? So when we just send it back, the drills are now running once again. So effectively the drills only run once it's going in this direction. And that is perfect. That is exactly what we want. We do also have to give the contraption mud, so we can have a simple barrel into a chute into a storage container. And this will be the output of the mixers, which is going to be placed somewhere next to the farm. That's something we still have to design. And then finally, we also have to get some way of extracting the clay from the contraption. So we can once again use a portable storage interface, something we used in our tree farm. We can filter the output with a smart chute. This is still the smart chute, it received a new texture. That's why it looks a little bit different. Filtered for only clay, and that can be sent into storage and yeah, eventually onto the trains and then into our train station. Since this farm is not going to be built at our base, this will be the very first of our farming outposts, which is connected by trains. So using the same concepts, I scaled this up to 558 blocks worth of mud, which is 8 stacks and 46 mud as the input. So the timing on the gear shift is something we'll have to figure out and assess how long it takes for the 558 blocks to be converted. And once we find the optimal time, we'll set a timer for the gear shift to switch states. Let's set the random tick speed up so that we can give this a test. It's all going to be converted into clay, and once this thing harvests, it's running at 256 RPM. Hits the end, hits the redstone signal, and that triggers the contraption controls. Then we can send it on its way back, and it's going to empty the contents halfway, and we should see just over 2,000 clay in the chest. Perfect. So we understand the concepts, and now let's build this thing on the server. Alright, so the very first thing is the material collection. I think we will start with that size of 558 blocks of mud, meaning of course we have to find 558 blocks of pointed dripstone. We're out here to the east of spawn, and I remember seeing a dripstone cave around here somewhere. This village is, I believe, where we found the double tall grass in one of the chests. I think it might have been in there. Oh yeah, and one more requirement for this farm is we must produce more than Coolcat. We are going to corner the clay market, and ideally we produce more than we use and have some excess to sell. So if 558 isn't big enough, we're going to go bigger. Well, we found our pointed dripstone cave. I don't have any torches with me though, which was a very smart move. Looks like there's some coal here. Oh wait, I only have a silk touch pick. Yeah, well, definitely not my best moment. Let me go and grab some more torches. After making it back to our base, I again went back out to X400Z0 and found the pointed dripstone cave. And given the fact the farm might end up a bit bigger, I picked up a little more than 558 blocks of pointed dripstone. Okay, we almost have enough. We're just coming across so much of this copper and zinc and coal, and I just can't help myself. Abandoned mineshaft chest. Name tag. I'll take the name tag and torches. Oh, it's been too long since I've been caving. I'm gonna grab all the zinc because we need it for the copycat blocks. Oh, here's where all the pointed dripstone is. Perfect. Alright, so dripstone and a bunch of other materials here acquired. Now we have to account for all the other crate machinery we need. The farm is 18 blocks long, so that's 18 deployers and 18 mechanical drills. We have some crafted already. And the other thing we have to consider, which I haven't yet, is how we're going to generate rotational force to power the gantry shaft. I guess we have the new water wheels, but even those I'm not sure is going to be sufficient enough, since we'll also have to power a mechanical mixer for the mud, and a bunch of other belts and things to load the train. So we have a lot of crafting and gathering ahead of us. I suspect this workshop is about to be put through its paces. Oh yeah, and we also need a location. That's very important, but first, let's do some crafting. Nice, so I think we got everything crafted and ready for this build. No doubt we probably missed a few crafts though, which we'll pick up at a later stage. But there are a couple of other things we have to figure out, like location. I originally wanted to put it out here next to spawn. This is where our train tracks ended from last episode. Oh yeah, and the mobs can't cross the track. Or they won't do it on their own. It kind of looked like that skeleton just crossed though, right? It's a little hard to tell. Let's see, is he going to cross the track? It looks like maybe not. This guy was on the track though. Oh yeah, he did. He did just cross the track there. But creepers don't cross the track. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so after thinking about it some more, I don't think this is appropriate for the farm. Spawn is really reserved for community projects. And besides, it will be nice for lag prevention since the spawn chunks are always loaded. Although, to be fair, the farm isn't going to run 100% of the time because we do have to provide it with dirt, which we're going to get from the incoming train. So we also have to find a place we can run a rail track to. Oh, creeper hole. I've had so many of these recently. And skeleton, this place ain't safe. I'll fix it later. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea to pick a location for our own industrial district, and that way we can have multiple farms in roughly the same location. Not too far away from the nether portal, which is north of our base, past the body of water. We come across this mountainside, and then just over the hill we come across this plains biome, which I think is going to be perfect for our needs for our industrial district. I almost picked this as a base location, but I opted for something closer to spawn. I really like this area actually, and I think this is where our farm is going to be. It's roughly -700 in the X and Z coordinate, and our base is -400 0. So it's at least another couple hundred blocks away from our base. Our base is right over there. So I brought along some track. First we have to lay down some infrastructure, since we're going to have to carry at least a couple of chests worth of material over here to get this farm built. And if we have the rail link set up, then we can carry the items via train. And that is almost certainly going to make our lives much easier, since I am almost positive I forgot to craft some stuff. So yeah, we've got a location, we've got a plan. Let's start to implement this plan. I'm kind of stalling right now because this is going to be this is a huge undertaking right here. Which way do we even go? Do we cut across the ocean? That's a possibility. Or do we go around? Alright, let's just do this. Oh yeah. As tedious as some of that was, I had an absolute blast doing this. And there was also some challenges we ran into along the way, some unexpected issues which I ran into when I was designing this thing in creative, mostly to do with the redstone, which we're going to go over here. And I did find solutions to like 99% of them. However, I thought I'd bring you guys in for the very first test. I'm still yet to run this farm on the server here. Although it does work in a creative world, so I see no reason why it wouldn't work here. Once we connect this up here, we should get some rotation. Things are happening. Is it going the right way? Is it spinning the right speed? Yeah, this is on 256, that's on max. And yes, in the end I did go for the water wheels, the large water wheels, into a rotation speed controller. The best option here probably would have been a steam engine, but honestly I've never really played with those yet. So I kind of want to save that for another project, but we'll definitely get into those later on. Oh, and 100% I am so glad I invested in the trains here. Despite the tracks looking a mess. I thought I knew how these worked, but apparently not. You know, these slopes on the tracks here gave me some issue. And still, they're not exactly the way I want them. Like you can see here, there's like a tiny little dip in it. It's not perfectly straight. And as far as I know, I don't know if there's any way to make them perfectly straight. All I'm going to say is these tracks are a nightmare, unless I'm missing something, which is very possible. I would estimate we're about 60% done with the farm, and most of the function is going to be in place by now. What we have to do at this point is glue the contraption, and one of the pieces of the contraption has changed, in that we're no longer using the portable storage interface, and there's a very good reason for that. Instead, we're using double chests, but we're taking advantage of the fact that the gantry shaft, when it's placed, it's no longer a contraption. So whenever it stops, i.e. there's no rotation in the gantry shaft, all the blocks turn into blocks again. Whereas, if you use a minecart contraption and it stops, and it's not placed on the cart assembler, it still stays a contraption. And that is quite important here, because to extract the items, we use brass funnels on the chests. So the chests are glued here to the contraption, instead of the portable storage interface. I think it might be easier if I show you here in the creative world. So we have the portable storage interface addition back on the contraption here, and I've removed the brass funnels from the back. This is an exact replica of the one in the cave on the server. But the one other very important addition to simplify the redstone is the sequenced gear shift. This is no longer a regular gear shift, and the sequenced gear shift allows you to program a set of functions for the rotational power. So when the block receives the redstone signal, it's going to send the gantry shaft forward 256 blocks. Then it's going to await a new redstone pulse, and then it's going to send it back 55 blocks. Then it will end the set of instructions and wait for the next redstone signal to repeat the sequence. You might be wondering why it's 256 blocks to the end and then 55 blocks back. The way that the gantry shaft works is basically every half rotation is one block. So if you sequence a gear shift here for 1 block distance, you're going to see it's going to spin half a rotation of the gantry shaft, right? And that is 1 block. However, if you have mechanical drills, which take some time to mine the block below them, and effectively slow the thing down, let's see if we can trigger this here. Although I think it might get stuck because of the portable storage interface. Yeah, you can see there's a slight delay on the mechanical drills mining before it moves to the next block. It should come back here as well. But all the time that's happening, the gantry shaft is still spinning with it stationary. And then it counts in the sequence gear shift as a block's being moved, even though the contraption is in the exact same place. Which is the reason that you have to have extra blocks distance. It basically is just extra rotation to account for the delay on the mechanical drill. But there's also increased delay if you add a portable storage interface, like we have here. You can see it stops in the middle, but the gantry shaft is still spinning. And that is counting up those 128 blocks. And now it's stuck, right? It's stuck. That's no good. That is not what we want. And on the sequenced gear shift, you can only have 5 different functions, 5 different instructions. And we need this await new redstone pulse. And we also have to send it back. I really do hope that made sense. So instead we remove the portable storage interface and we're only using brass funnels to extract the finished clay output. There's also some more funnels here which we'll talk about in a second once this thing is going. This was one of the unforeseen challenges that I had to overcome where we had mud stuck in the contraption. So as you can see, I've also set up a way to make mud here on site, and that is going to be fed along this belt into the item vault, which is just a way to store items. It's a multi-block container, and then that is fed through this brass funnel here, or smart chute, sorry, into a buffer chest, into 2 hoppers, and then into this chest, which is part of the contraption. Yeah, right there you can see the contraption controls as well. All of that remains the same. There is a few other things to cover, but let's try to get this thing switched on for the first time. We are going to have to feed it dirt. I only have so much here from terraforming, or clearing the terrain a little bit. So let's take the train back to base. As you can see, there has been some minor modifications. I seen your comments from last episode. You guys said it was too short, and I definitely agree after seeing it at the end of the last episode. So I did widen the base a little bit here. Also added some barrels on the back. Right here is what it used to look like. It may still be a little bit bulky on the back, but it's going to be in constant state of change. Oh yeah, and we also have ladders now, so we can access this thing. I also went ahead and set up a new camera angle. We have camera utilities mod, which is super, super useful. So we can actually see in third person now when we're driving the trains. And the best part about this, if we turn the volume back up, I figured out the steam whistle. You guys remember that steam whistle right in the front, which is blocking our vision? All we have to do to turn it on is press sprint. Oh, that is so amazing. That is so amazing. When I actually discovered it by accident. Oh, the trains here are just oh, of course it starts raining. And it's also relatively smooth as well. There's a couple of bumps and hitches in the replay mod, but when you're here in game, it's relatively smooth. I'm really surprised the Create team managed to do this good of a job on the trains. And just like that, we're back at the base. Easy. We do have a temporary loop here at the end, which is going to be removed once we overhaul the train yard. But yeah, it's pretty easy to transfer back and forth to the farm. Let's see what the situation here is for our stock of dirt. I do want to keep a lot of it because we have a lot of terraforming to do around McFolds. But we go through so much of this stuff, and most of it I do really want to be turned into clay. So you know what, let's just grab these 2 double chests here. Load it into the train. And we're back at the farm. One thing we'll have to set up is an unloading station for dirt. And ideally that is automatically funneled, where it's supposed to be in this vault up top here, just below the mechanical mixer, or yeah, just behind the mechanical mixers here. So once we add our dirt, it's going to be automatically extracted by the hoppers, inserted into the basins. We're receiving rotational power from the water wheels below. There's a bunch of gearboxes and things down there to make it happen. And we also have down there a mechanical pump. It's a little bit hard to see, but the mechanical pump can extract from an infinite water source, and then it's sent on a fluid pipe down here and insert into the bottom of the basins right there. And that's the way we get the water in the basin, and then we have a filter here for mud, so it only produces the mud recipe. Then the basin, similar to the way we make hamburgers, automatically extract their finished product into the smart chute, onto this belt, and that is going into this item vault here. From the item vault, we have another smart chute inserted into this chest, and we saw this earlier, right? This is going into our contraption, and this should be given to the deployers here. I don't know if the filters have been set, so the deployers should receive the mud once this thing starts moving. Okay, approximately 6,000 dirt input into the vault, and we should be ready to turn this thing on. It's going to place a layer of mud, and then we have our pointed dripstone below, and ideally that should turn into clay, and we're going to see this thing in action, right? This has just about the what was it? Nearly 9 stacks, I think, as the input. 558 blocks of mud. But this chest can just fill to capacity. It's not really going to be an issue because of these funnels here, which fixes the overflow of mud. So we're eventually going to hook up a lever to turn the farm on and off above. But I think all we have to do to manually switch it on is hit the snow block. It's going to trigger the observer and then into the sequenced gear shift. Oh, I hear it. Nice, nice. Oh, that is such a good sign. That makes me so happy. Okay. Does it come back? It should also come back at the other side after 18 seconds. I think it's 18 seconds if I remember right. On the pulse repeater. Come on, gantry shaft, you can do it. It didn't come back. I had to manually reset it here, so we're back at the beginning. But a good sign is the contraption controls did work because the mechanical drills didn't mine anything on the way back. However, what should happen is the 2 redstone contacts meet. Redstone contacts, there's one glued to the contraption there. Whenever these 2 things are next to each other, they give off a redstone signal. That goes into the redstone link, which is wirelessly sending a redstone signal over to this redstone link on receive mode. That sends its signal into this pulse repeater on, it was 18 seconds, we're going to try increase this to 20, just to make sure it has enough time for the sequenced gear shift to get through these 256 rotations. It says distance here, but yeah, we're going to say rotation. Since it has to await the redstone pulse, that's basically what this is here. The second redstone pulse to send it back. So the pulse repeater powers the powered rail, then into the observer, into the note block, into another observer, and then back into the sequenced gear shift. And that should send the whole contraption back. Then we also have another observer down here, which observes this note block. So on the incoming signal, once it's sent back, that's also sent into another pulse repeater down here. And this is just a timer. This one is set for 5 minutes. We might increase this to 6 minutes, but I found that 5 minutes gives us like 75% of the conversion of mud to clay. So for now we're going to keep it 5 minutes, then it hits another note block, another observer, into the powered rail, this observer, the note block, observer, sequence gear shift. And that triggers the start of the instruction again. Because it's already received the second redstone pulse, it's sent back and it's triggered the end. Oh, there we go. Things are happening. That must have been 5 minutes. That must have been that timer down there. Yeah, you can see it's turned off now. Okay, does it come back after 20 seconds? This one should receive a signal. I think it might be right. It's lighting up very slowly. Oh, please, please come back this time. Please come back. Yeah, you can see the sequence gear shift is still got a red light on it. That means it's still trying to spin. That should turn off. Then we should receive the second pulse. Oh, we just received the pulse and it was still on. So this is still too long. Wait, it's not. Wait. We're getting clay. It's not too. Wait, I was wondering why 18 seconds didn't work the first time. I have no idea why it didn't work the first time. It's back, right? Yes! It's back. Nice. And now 5 minutes later, it should be triggered again. Oh, this is glorious. Okay, so now we have to figure out some way, somewhere for this clay to be stored. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I don't even know what to say. This thing works. This thing works. Yeah, we need clay storage. I'm thinking just another item vault right here for mass clay storage. And these things, as far as I know, have to be 2x2 or 3x3. But yeah, the thing about the item vaults is you can't interface with them directly as a player. You have to automatically insert via a hopper or a chute or a funnel, something like that. I guess the final thing to talk about tech-wise with this farm, oh yes, you can see already some of it is converting again. The final thing is these funnels on top here. So I found during testing that once this fills up, which it almost has, full of mud, then occasionally, because the 5-minute timer isn't enough for the farm to fully convert, we are going to get the drills mining some of the mud, right? And because this chest is going to be potentially full, it's going to overflow into these chests. And if that happens enough times, then all the chests are going to be full, and when we go to run the farm again, it's going to have no space to store the clay. And that is an issue because they're just going to end up on the floor. So when it's back here, we want to extract any mud that ends up overflowing into these chests, which is reserved for the clay. So I can demonstrate here. If we have excess mud appear in here, it's going to be extracted by this brass funnel, then into this brass funnel, into the chest to be recycled. I think we really should have it going back into this vault, so I might change that because if this is full, then we might still end up with the same issue. But yeah, that's the basic idea. But yeah, from here what we have to do is finish off the aesthetic of this room. Oh, here we go again. That felt shorter than 5 minutes though. Maybe... I mean, time is flying. I'm having a blast. Time is flying. Yeah, we have to finish off the aesthetic of this room. We have to add an item unloader and loader for the clay. So from the item vault down there, it has to be sent into the train. Oh yeah, and we also want to hook up this smart observer, which is pointing into the item vault. This used to be called the content observer. It got a name change and a texture change in the recent update. But what we can do here, I saw this at Coolcat's base and it's so awesome. What we can do is take a display link. We can bind the link to the display board here, and then put this back on the content observer. I think it can go on any side of the block. Nope, that cleared the position. Yes, successfully bound to target position. And then we can list the amount of items on line 1. We get our advancement, big day. Oh, still a rogue deployer, look at that. And look at this, it gives us a live reading of the amount of dirt that we have. It looks like we're down to 318, 316, this is pretty accurate. And as of the Rise and Shine update, the faster that you give this rotational force, it does require rotational force. I think the quicker it updates, we are at 256, so this is, I guess, the maximum rate that it updates. You can compare the tooltip there to what it's reading out. It's slightly delayed, but that is pretty accurate right there. Oh yeah, one more thing I didn't mention here about the funnels for the mud. I forgot I placed a smart chute here with a piece of redstone dust on top. The smart chute reads the contents of this chest, so if there's ever any mud in here, it sends a signal to this redstone dust and that turns off the smart chute. Whenever you power a smart chute, it stops anything from going through. So yeah, there's no need for us to funnel this mud all the way to the item vault. I also made a start here on the output belt, which is going to be sent, which is for clay. This will be sent to the train for the train loader. We still have to build that. There's so many things left to do here. And there's also another thing I forgot about. A name for the train. And you guys had some absolutely fantastic suggestions. Trifecta, the Flying Scotsman. 3 train. Yeah, some really great suggestions, but the one we're going to go for this train specifically is the 3-line express. So we've arrived back at the station here. We can name the train here 3-line express. And the train station isn't going to be here specifically, but we're going to name this station, our main central station, Penrose Central, which I think is a very fitting name. I'm just back at the base here to pick up some building blocks, but I think we're going to wrap up the episode right here. It was a bit of a different episode. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this one. I certainly did. It was a blast for me to do this. And we might do a bit of polishing up on it next episode as well, but I want to keep things interesting. We'll bounce between different projects. We have a lot of other things on the go right now. Just before we wrap up, let's feed the cows. A wheat farm is something else that we're going to have to get. And I'm also quickly running out of wood. Our wood chest is dangerously low. And we no longer have a wood farm, since it used to be right around here, right where we're standing. Perhaps another farm for the industrial district. Anyways, I'm headed back to the farm to try to get it a little more polished. And that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next episode of Trifecta.